What's up, guys? It's your girl Jay, mental health baddie here. And today we're gonna talk about something a little heavy. You know, I'm always on TikTok, y'all. And I came across a video, this viral video, where this girl asked her boyfriend, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? And he's like, oh, almost every day. And she's just like, what? And so it sparked like this whole thing where girls were asking their boyfriends or husbands or whatever, their spouses, hey, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? And they all had an answer that told that they actually think about it way more often than you would think. And so that led me to think, okay, what's the female equivalent of that question? Like, what's a question that you could ask, a universal question that you could ask a woman and they would probably have a similar or surprising response to? And I think I found that question. So, not that anybody can answer this, but ladies, how often do you think of your ex-best friend? Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. It could be your ex-best friend from elementary school, your ex-best friend who you used to work with and you no longer see them anymore, or you had a falling out and y'all were friends for like a good 2, 3, 4 years and then something happened and then you guys fell out and never got back together. Any type of best friend, because I feel like you can have different best friends for different reasons and different categories. You could have your work best friend, like I said, you could have your OG best friend, your childhood best friend, your just general, hey, that's my best friend. So what happens when you have that bond? Because I don't know about you guys, I don't use the term bestie and best friend loosely. So when I have someone who I consider a best friend and then something happens and we just split, that's a grieving process. And that doesn't get talked about a lot. Grieving a friendship, because when you're grieving, you're not necessarily grieving just someone who's passed, but you're grieving something that has come to an end. Especially if it's something or someone that you really cherished and cared about, or you made you feel some kind of way, and now all of a sudden it's just over. It could be a relationship, a marriage, a friendship, not just someone passing. So we don't talk about that a lot. What that looks like when you're grieving the loss of an ex-best friend, or just a really good friend. I won't even just say best friend, just a good friend. And I've had it happen a few times, as life happens and we all grow and encounter different experiences, personal experiences, and not everyone is gonna be along for that ride, and that's okay. But when I came across that question, and when I thought about that question, and I went down a rabbit hole, because I think about my ex-best friends almost every day. There are friends that I think about that I have not seen since elementary school, and I think about them and wonder if they're okay or how they grew up, that I haven't been able to find on social media, or there's some that I have found on social media, but it's just like, we're not on good terms, so I'm not gonna reach out, but I'm glad they're okay. And yeah, so why did you fall out with your best friend or your ex-best friend? Was it a misunderstanding? Was it one of you did something that the other one was like, this is unforgivable? I feel like a lot of them are probably misunderstandings, or just trying to do or say the same thing and it's just the communication is just not there. Sometimes life just gets in the way, and it's not necessarily you fall out with them. Well, I guess you could kind of say you're no longer compatible, but you kind of are. For example, one may have kids and then the other one has another lifestyle. I'll just say lifestyle. Your lifestyles may just be on different wavelengths and you just don't fit in with each other in each other's lives the way that you wanted to. And I'm not saying that you can't live different lives and still be best friends, but come on. And just being realistic, when you're around different people, when you're growing and doing different things and your day-to-day looks a little different, some friendships can stand that and some can't. So it's tough. Like it's really tough, because at our big grown age, we have to drink our water, we have to mind our business, we have to check in on our friends, we have to make sure we're checking in with family, and don't forget to have kids, because they want women to have kids. I'm not having no kids. Make sure you're doing your job right, make sure you're taking care of what you need to take care of, make sure you pay your other bills. Your kids are good. So there's so much that goes on with our day-to-day life that it's just sometimes people grow apart and you just have to be okay with that. But it still hurts. I do feel that some friendships, depending on how they ended, sometimes if you each are going through your own personal battles, sometimes you have to kind of separate to find out what you really want. Sometimes you're spending too much time with your friends and not dealing with the bullshit that you have behind you, or you're spending too much time dealing with the bullshit behind you that you just don't have it in you to be what that person needs in a friend. I will say, me speaking personally, I had a big issue with managing my time. time. And I'm still working on that. I'm a work in progress, not completed. And I'm constantly working on my time management, but I get overwhelmed very easily when I have a lot going on. And with me recently finding my paternal side of my family and getting introduced and integrated with that side, and then with work, and then I had the wedding, and then there was also some emotional stuff going on with me, because finding out your dad is not your dad is a whole other series of videos that I don't know if I have the time or to even, but whatever. So I know that I had a lot going on, and I had some friends that understood that. They also had stuff going on too, but then you may also have some friends where they just really need that constant face-to-face, that constant interaction with you on a day-to-day basis. There's nothing wrong with that. But if your lives are going in like two different ways, and sometimes you just can't manage it all. And I think for me, I'm not gonna lie, I've lost a friendship or two in the middle of that. However, I also have some other friends where we just haven't spoke for a little bit, but then whenever we have time, we just try to get back to where we were. So that's another thing. Sometimes you just need space to kind of grow what you need to figure out, and then maybe you'll come back. Also, sometimes you have to think, do you want that friendship back? I had time to think over some friendships that I used to have, and for whatever reason, whether I moved away, they moved away, or whatever, we're just not friends like that anymore. And I've sat back and I was like, you know what? That friendship was actually very toxic. It was very toxic, and I needed to get out of that. I needed something to happen for me to get out of that, because I would have placed how long I've known this person over the bullshit that was happening. And I'm not saying they were toxic. I'm not saying I was 100% toxic, but it was a toxic friendship. And so some of those relationships, I'm like, you know what, it needed to end. It still hurts though, and that's okay. It still hurts, and I'm still grieving, but it's like, you know what, that needed to end. Now, when it comes to deciding if you want to get that friendship back, do you think too much time can ever go by? Because I've seen accounts where two people haven't talked for like 40, 50 years, and then something happens, and then they're right back, and then they get to spend this extra time they have together with to catch each other up on each other's lives. And it ends up being a beautiful thing, and they just had to take that time apart to deal with their shit, and then to where they could be a better person and a better friend and come back together. So that's also something that could potentially happen. Now, me, even though I have friendships that have ended, and I mean friendships, also relationships with family members, that kind of falls into this too, because your best friend could be a family member. But I have had moments where I still think about them, and I never wish any ill on them, because they were my friend. At one point, they were one of my best friends. I always wish them well, and it sucks because you kind of want to reach out on social media, but then you're like, nah, let me leave them alone. And then you also don't want to reach out, and then they reject you, because then you're gonna be like, well, I should just stay where the fuck I was. So it's tough. It's kind of tough, but I hope everyone's doing well. I don't wish ill will on anybody, no. But just think about it. How often do you think of your ex-best friend, and how does that make you feel? And I think that if you feel like you should reach out, you should go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that, and just know that you're doing out the goodness of your heart, and if they don't reciprocate that, then that's on them. But let me know in the comments, do you still think about your ex-best friend? And if you feel like reaching out to him, reach out to him. Have you rekindled a friendship with an old friend? If you have, please let me know how that went. Or if you tried to rekindle it and it was like, nah, too much time is gone, we just kind of let be bygones. Let me know that too, because I'm nosy. I want to know. I be grieving friendships over here, y'all. Like, I do. Now it's not like I'm losing people left and right, but I've had a lot of friendships. I have had a lot of different lives to where I'm growing and reaching different stages and doing different things and coming across different people, and just life in general. You're going to have some people that stick around, and you're going to have some people that you're like, man, whatever happened to them? They were really cool. So, but don't let that get you down. It's okay to grieve, and just focus on your current friends, what you're doing now. Just make sure you're being a great person and a great friend when you can. Definitely setting like those friendship boundaries, because are you the friend that you need FaceTimes and texts every single day? Or are you good with the, hey, I know you're busy, but let's at least get together every month or 2 months to have a brunch and catch up on each other's lives? Because I'm telling y'all, the older you get, the more you're going to be scheduling appointments with your friends than just doing random get-togethers and they come over to your house. Because I literally have have my calendar on the refrigerator over there saying who I'm gonna hang out with when. And if you're like me and I'm an introvert, and as much as I love people, sometimes I just need to be in my own zone and kind of just recharge, regroup before I go out and be social in the world. You know, my friends know that, so they know if they see me on one day, it could be like a week or two before they see or hear from me again, because life be lifing. But always check in on your friends, make sure you're being a good friend. And if you have any other tips or recommendations or stories, like I said, please let me know. And if you like this video, if you're not new here, welcome back. And if you are new here, welcome. Let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, follow, all of those things. Let's keep this conversation going. And until next week, protect your peace, love on your people, and don't be a shitty friend. At least try not to. Until next time, bye y'all.